Mesech Menochos, Daf Mem Amar Aleph. We're starting from the first line on the Daf. Okay, says Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan Mem Amar Aleph. Tanu Rabbanan Geland. Rabbanan learned in the Brayso, sudden betzitzis, a linen beged, benegayet to the tzitzis, benegayet to the inyan of tzitzis, beishamay poitin. Beishamay says it's pot from tzitzis. Beisil mechayvin. Beisil says he's chayvin tzitzis. Now, what do we learn out? That why would it be chayva potter? Beishamay, where do Beisil learn out that you have to put on linen wool tzitzis? Because it says the pasha of shatnez is next to, or the reverse. The pasha of tzitzis says next to the pasha of shatnez. Shatnez came first. Because of the smichos, because of the closeness, we learn out that the asay of tzitzis overrides the lois asay that you shouldn't wear shatnez. And Bishama doesn't learn this smichos. He doesn't learn this drasha. And therefore he says you're not chayv in tzitzis.
But it's very rare that the Gemara actually says who we hold by the halacha.
Right, that's unusual. He says that. The halacha can live in Beis Hillel.
Does it always say
The
that?
halacha is like him. So he says over here, even though B'derech Klal we don't have to say the halacha is like Beis Hillel, here the Brayso says so, in order, because to tell us, okay, this is something very common, to tell us we still follow Beis Hillel. So to Gemara, Rabbi Elazar ben Tzadik. Rabbi Elazar ben Tzadik had said, "Aloi kol hamatot ches b'shalayim ein elam in hamat miyin." It says, first of all, it says chayiv. If you look over here, Rashi also brings down. Why do you say chayiv and potter? Because here we're not talking about he's wearing it. We're talking about if you would wear it, you would say usur, the isur of shatnez. But here he's not wearing it. Here we're talking about the beged, putting it in to put the wool, the tzitzis in the linen beged. That's only chayv or potter if you're chayv or potter. When is it trying to say isur muta if you were wearing it? If you're talking about wearing it, that's why he says only chayv or potter. Anyway, whoever places the tcheles, meaning the wool in the linen beged in Yerushalayim, ain't elam min hamat minim. Meaning it makes people wonder why you're wearing it. It looks like you're wearing kilayim. Others say people only wonder, but really you see a lot of wear kilayim. It's either way, or people wonder how could you wear it. Rabbi said in Cain, if the halacha is like Beisil that it's mutter to put in wool into the linen beged, lama asura. Why did they ask?
All woolen tzitzis are shatnez? No.
No, wool and wool, but you can have wool and linen.
I know, but I'm saying we don't have to do wool and linen tzitzis today's day, right?
No, but we have on the corner also a piece of silk. Yeah. That's just to show us. Okay. Rabbi said in Cain, if the halachas like Beis Hillel, that a matat chelis with the in linen beged, lama asur. Why did they ask in Yerushalayim? Says Gemara, lafishein b'kiyim. Because they were not bucky to dashen the smuchim, so they would think, oh, you're allowed to wear shatnez. So in order, because they wouldn't know it's only by tzitzis. So that's why, right, so that's why they asked it in Yerushalayim. So he says, if the whole concern is because they wouldn't know to differentiate between tzitzis and regular shatnez, and they'll think it's mutter, let 10 people put on tzitzis, of people, important people with the linen, beged, and the wool tzitzis. They could go out to the marketplace wearing it. And like this, everybody will realize that kalayim is only mutter by tzitzis. Says you want to know. In that case, if 10 people will go out and choshen of people will go out, everybody will think, oh, for sure, shatnez you're allowed to wear. In fact, you want to leave the shul let them go in the shul and start making drushes that you're not allowed to wear shatnez, only by tzitzis you're allowed. And everybody will know. Yeah, Rabbi Brian and Rabbi As will go out and go to the shul. So he says, no, you say to the you're right. It's a different Zayda, huh?
Start with them using the area.
Yeah. It's a different Zayda. Zayda Mishum Color Ilan. Indigo. Indigo is a plant that you can make almost identical to the chilazon blue. And because you could make these tricks and make it blue, that's why people will buy tzitzis and it was made out of the plant that died, not out of the chalazon, that's why they stopped it. What's the problem if it was made out of indigo? Let it be even wine strings. Wine strings are mutter. So what do you care if it's made out of indigo, if it's the chalazon, even though it's not the right chelas? If you want to keep it lash minan, the answer is since you could use of the same baguette, the same material of the baguette. So if it's wool, you use, if you want to, you can get a wool baguette and put on woolen tzitzis. What do you have to do it in the way of Shabbos? Since it's possible to do b'minan, wherever you find an assay that contradicts the lois assay, if you're able to fill both the assay and the lois assay, mutter is good. Then you should. You should wear wool, a wool baguette with wool tzitzis. But if not, if you have to wear tchelis, and you know what the real tchelis is, then we say the assay of tzitzis to wear shatnez overrides the isa of shatnez. But that's only if there's no gzeira of that he might use indigo, which is not real tchelis. Right. So the Mepharshim is, I think it's Rashi.
So you're not allowed to dye your string unless it's from that fish?
Huh?
Dyeing one of your tzitzis blue and not from the fish is an issur?
It's if you use it, it's not, you're not fulfilling tchelis. So if you're not fulfilling tchelis, you have no right to wear shatnez. So his question is why? Because of the gzeira that it might be indigo, but it's a mitzvah seven Torah. How could you ban a mitzvah seven Torah? Because of a gzeira, we don't do such a thing. So he says, Rashi says that if it's only mitzvah sheva al taisa, it's not. It's something that you could just not do, and just wear wool and wool. So then you could make such a gzeira. If it's by sheva al taisa, you do make the gzeira.
There's a way to do it that's not
that's not going to be a problem, right? In fact, you want to leave the cool. Let's check it out. Let's check out if it's from indigo or if it's real chalazon. And they have a way to do it with a bleach or urine. They use urine to check it out. It says, the whole reason the real gzeira is because you're going to check it out, right? First you're going to check out the threads if they are, if it's indigo or it's chalazon. And then you're going to want to use the l'shem mitzvah, then it's too late. Once you use the l'shem something else, you can't use the l'shem mitzvah. Okay? Because, so he says, where does it say? If you're going to be, since they were dyed, and you dyed it, you sunk it into the thing, into the dye, to check it out if it's indigo or not, so it was used l'chatchil for b'dika, so therefore you can't use it anymore. It became possible. It's no more l'shem mitzvah. Let them send out letters to the people, and through sending out the letters, people will know that you can't use indigo. Why do you have to send? Before we said, let them darshan in the shulin, because the factories were far away places, or people from the factory are not coming to shul to go here to the drushes. That's why he said, send out letters. On a letter, you're saying we're going to rely on these letters that we send out, that everything is going to be all right? Says Yimana, what are you talking about? Rava said, yeah, absolutely. By the Isa of eating chametz on Pesach, or the Isa of eating on Yom Kippur, because they made a Iber year or Iber month, sometimes 29, 30, so you don't know when Yom Kippur was. And we sent out letters to tell you what it is, and we relied on those letters when it is exactly. And here it's a punishment of the kares. If by mistake you eat chametz b'Pesach, it's the wrong day to eat on Yom Kippur. Some chinadiski, we do rely on the letters. Over here we're talking about just the mitzvah say, like Kol Shekei. Of course, he says bearing a baggage that has the arba compass without chelas is kosher. You only on a mitzvah say. So if it's on a mitzvah say, for sure, we should be able to rely on a letter. This I once said in Bavel, and it was learned by Rab Zeda in Eretz Yisrael, the same as what I just said. That the Zeda is Shema Yika Sedinai. When Betech Shalish, we're afraid that maybe his baguette from will rip, the corner will rip, this corner, let's say this corner will rip, this is the fourth corner, then he'll sew it, and he'll be left over with string, and then he'll use the tchelas to put it in. That's no good, because that thread wasn't l'shem mitzvah tzitzis. It was l'shem to sew back the corner, to repair the corner, and you had leftover remnants of the string, and which you used for tchelas. That's not good. That's what we're afraid of. The Torah says you have to make it with the kavanah of tzitzis, not from something that you already did something with the string, and now you're left over with that string. That's another a kind of tasav v'legan. Says the Gemara, after hearing that seder, Rabbi Zera removed his tzitzis from the linen beged, the wool tzitzis from the linen beged because of this seder. Rabbi Zera Amar, Zera Mishum Ksus Laila. Rabbi Zera says it's Zera because of Ksus Laila. Now you first said the Rabbi Zera, and then you have Rabbi Zera.
Right.
So Rashi says, Taisa says two pirushim. One pirush is that it's according to Rashi, it was a different person. According to Taisa, Rav Zera and Rabbi Zera are two different people, and according to Rashi, Ksub it's the same person. When he was in Bavel, he was called Rav, but when he came to Eretz Yisrael, they added a Yod, Rabbi Zera. So he says Rabbi Zera Mishum Ksus Laila because of the night garment. A night garment, you're not mechuyev on tzitzis.
You have a woolen linen.
A woolen linen, you're not allowed to wear it because you're not mechuyev on tzitzis. Now, what does it mean night garment? So he brings down two perushim. Rashi explains that it's designated to use it, actually use it at night. And Achaim say, no, even if you designate it for the night, that's already considered as a night garment.
Even if you don't use it.
Even if you don't use it at night, even if you use it at day, but you designate it for the night. And the problem is, the night garment is not mechuyev. It says, it's by day. This thing I once said above, and it was said like me in Eretz Yisrael, the name of Rabbi Zera. He shall beged if the beged, the main part of the beged is linen, and the corners are leather,
Okay.
right? So chayavis, it's chayav tzitzis. He shall. What's if the main beged is out of hide? Uknafar shall beged, and the corners are made out of linen. Ptura is part of them tzitzis. My time. What's the reason? Because ikka beg beinan. Because you need the ikka to be beged and not oil, and here and not skin and not leather. And here the ikka was the ikka of the beged was leather. Rav Achai also basar kan. But Rav Achai says no. I go according to the corners for chiv tzitzis, and since the corners are made out of linen, so it's mechuyev tzitzis. Amarav Schira, Amarav Huna, Hitel abalis shalish v'yishlim la'arba psula. What's if you had a garment that was like this, cut this way, so you had three corners, 1, 2, 3, and you put on the tzitzis on 3, and then you attached another half a garment to here. So now you have a fourth corner.
Okay.
So he says it's possible because of tasav and also. Because when you put on, before you weren't mechuyev tzitzis until you attach the fourth corner.
Okay, but you
And once you attach the fourth corner, you have already 3 made tzitzis. At the moment that you became mechuyev tzitzis, you already had 3 corners made already. Before that, you weren't mechuyev tzitzis, so you even tasav and also. Meisrei, fragt die Gemara Akasha, Chsid ben Yoshenim, the early Chsidim, Kimashar, Rubam, Shalish, Hoymetin Lat Chelis. They would make a beged with the machine. They would weave it, right?
Yeah.
So the moment they reached like a sizable amount, so they right away put in the first 2 corners, and the next 2 corners he could have put in this another 2 corners. So it says that even before he put in the other 2 corners, and he put in just 2 corners till they finished the beged, they would insert the tzitzis. And l'chayda, it should have been possible because for 2 reasons. Because even though there were 4 corners, it wasn't enough to cover the whole guf. Or another pshat is because those other 2 corners, that's not where he was planning on finishing. He wanted to finish the whole beged. He's still weaving, even though right now there's 4 corners, but he's not planning to stop there. He's planning to be mevatel these last 2 corners till he finishes the beged. So it says Gemara, over there they were matel. So how, and we say, why don't you say it didn't become possible because of Tasav Elohim and Asur? It says, since they reached to the last 3, it's not talking about right at the beginning. It's talking about he already finished and he's up to the last, he's within the last 3 breaths, finger breaths.
Yeah.
Or what does he call it? Shoshet's boys. Within the last. and they inserted it right away before they finished the other etzbais, that's fine. He says that's because the whole beggar was there. The four corners were there. It was within, right when he reached, you don't do Mash on the corner. He didn't do the finishing touches, another two finger breaths, but he already did it in the right place of the four corners. That's fine. Like, what do we say that by putting in tzitzis before it's man, the Indian of possible in the asui? You know, Rambam Abzeder said, Hitler, if somebody put tzitzis in the four corners of the beggar mutelas, after the tzitzis was there, it's going to be kosher. So what happened? You have tzitzis in one corner, right? You have tzitzis here in one corner. You're not happy with the tzitzis. It's all, you don't like even the strings. So you insert another string in it, and you make another tzitzis. So now you have so you have another. You added another one. So here you made one, and then you rip out the old one. So it's tassav, right? So why do you say it's kosher? Here you see that even if you make it before you take out the other one, it's still kosher. You don't say tassav. He says when he put it in this additional one, it wasn't considered as he made anything because he was over bal tesif. It's considered a zero. The actions that he did is nothing. It's only after he pulled off the other one, then it became good. So here, takes this a question. Let's say you take a sukkah, or you take a whole pile of hay, and somebody digs out the hay, and now he has a whole sukkah with schach on top. It's tasim leganasa. Here's the same thing. Here, he had another tzitzah with it. He ripped it out, and now he's left with kosher tzitzah. So that, how do you say? Taste really remains with the question. It's like you might affect, you might have muscular papa my the gavra. How do you know the guy had in mind, intended to add another tzitzah on that corner? Maybe his whole intention was to get rid of that one. It's to be mabatal, the old one. Oh, it wasn't baltes or baltes leika. So there's no baltes. So ma'aseh. So that ma'aseh that he did was an Indian of tasim leika na'asui. He did an action which is you're not allowed to do. I mean, because it wasn't to make an additional corner, an additional tzitza on that corner. It was to be mavad to the old tzitza. So that he remains by a question. Stop over.